Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In case you're new here, my name is Kim. This is Core Union. Today I want to talk about how things with the retail business that I manifested years ago and things with Hana kind of unfolded after I met Hana and I had that soul recognition. Then I want to talk about what happened in my 3D reality because I do believe that this will help you guys realize that circumstances don't matter and that sometimes things in your 3D will need to fall apart in order for you to become the truest, highest version of you and to actually be living in the experience of what God created you to be. Before I get into this, please do like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel if you are loving my content because it does help my channel grow and I really appreciate it. If you need coaching, feel free to email me a very short description of what's going on with you at kim@coreunion.com. And then you can book your session. It's super easy to book online at my website. You can book either a 30 or 60-minute session. You can also buy a package if you want. Then I will reply to you after you've booked with my first available. Some of you guys realize that I manifested a retail business without any reason why it should have been successful. I literally allowed God to work through me and I trusted in the entire process. Now the time came, I had a video recently where I met Hana online and it was an instant soul recognition when I met Hana. Now, I had been going through the pandemic with my business, and at this point, it was a few years in of really dealing with my own limiting beliefs around what was happening to my business with the pandemic. And I constantly was on a roller coaster of, it was like a pendulum swinging back and forth because I was truly shifting in and out of different trajectories and different timelines with what was going to happen with my business. And I also had a couple friends who were into manifesting. Every single one of them would tell me, like, you are letting this drag on too long. What are you doing? Drop it, let it go, pull the plug on it, because that's what basically they did in their past when they hit hard times. Even manifesting in the 3D, they would just pull the plug on whatever, deal with the consequences in the 3D and start fresh and start over. So I was resisting that for years. My ego was in the way. I was afraid of what would happen to my customers. So my ego got in the way and I was holding on to this for far too long. But when I met Hana, something inside of me, I just wanted so badly because it was this instant recognition and this instant love. And there were all of these circumstances in the way. We lived probably about 2.5 hours away from each other. He had cats. I had severe allergies to cats. It was all of these different circumstances in the way. And of course, again, now the business. He had his career where he lived and I had the business. So it was just like all of these things. Along with all of that, I hadn't seen my mom in a long time and I was really missing having that kind of love and support. So everything was pointing towards me. I should literally let go. But again, I didn't. So I started having these signs of just like, I came home one day after work and like my soul wanted to be with Hana. Everything about me wanted to be with Hana. And then me and Hana were starting to have like these disagreements and stuff. So this was the beginning of like what was going to be our first separation. I came home one day after work and I found this perfect little egg and I picked it up. It was in my driveway. For a few days afterwards, I was doing research of I wanted to create an incubator so I could save the little bird that was in this egg. Didn't end up working out. But what did end up working out was I ended up having this adorable little bird every day come to the door handle of my business. And it would literally fly on the door handle, peck at the door. This was hours every day. And then it would fly between the door handle of the store and my car all day for hours. I knew that this was something very significant. And to me, it was profound. And it basically was a synchronicity of something much greater, a renewal and a birth was happening in my life. And I also knew that things in my 3D might literally just kind of be wiped clean. And I was going to have to accept this and really go into a deep faith and trust and surrender in God. What ended up happening was me and Hana ended up having our first separation. We were having a bunch of stuff bubble up. Soon after that, I didn't listen to any of my friends or any of my mentors or anybody who suggested stop, just pull the plug. So God, universe, source came in and basically wiped everything clean. I ended up reaching out to my mom. I allowed and accepted someone, my mom, to support me and love me. And I allowed God to handle everything and take care of everything. For a good solid 2 months of my life, I stayed in trust and faith in God, and my entire focus was only on, I'm going to somehow, some way, I don't know how, but this is all happening for a purpose, that this is something really good that's happening, that somehow, some way, the highest and best version of me is going to unfold in this. And I had set the higher purpose of creating and manifesting that retail business to do what I'm doing right now. So I literally let go of everything in my 3D reality and I let it all crash. I just let it all go away. And I stayed in trust and faith. And there were many, many, many nights that were extremely hard and painful and scary. And I constantly wouldn't allow myself to give in to that fear. But it did feel like the furnace of affliction. It felt like a living hell. But I continued to keep focused 100% on having trust and faith and surrendered that God was handling everything, and God was handling everything. And then before you know it, time had passed and I had renewed sense of self. I was loving life again. I was incredibly grateful and appreciative for, having so much love and support from my mother in my life. And now I finally reached out to Hannah because I could feel all of that again. And then when I reached out to Hannah replied right away. Through the 3D, we both had our limiting beliefs come up, and there were ups and downs, and there were things that I didn't want to hear that were said, but I continued to stay in faith and trust exactly how I say, because I understood what was happening. And no matter what, I knew that no matter what was said or done, and no matter what happened between us, I knew who we were to each other. And I just continued to stay focused and disciplined in that. Once we actually were going to start physically seeing each other, the drive was no longer a big circumstance. The distance wasn't a big circumstance. Now it was only an hour and a half. As it turns out, even though I was deathly allergic or severely allergic to cats, somehow, some way, I wasn't allergic to his cats. He had told me months prior, he had said, you won't be allergic to my cats. And I chose to believe him. I chose, something in me chose to attach to that belief. And so anytime when I thought about it, deep down, I would just allow that belief to set hold within me. So this is just a perfect example how time, distance, or even circumstances like allergies or pets are it's never an issue. Circumstances are always going to change and shift. And you are always going to be put on a trajectory of being the truest, most genuine, authentic version of you when you surrender yourself to it and when you accept. Because really what's happening is every moment you are selecting what you are going to trust and believe in, and you're making a choice. The more you choose dominantly in trusting in the versions of you and the version of your person and the version of the life that you want over and over and over again, dominantly, and the more you can feel that and think from that end, the things in your reality will morph and change. But the purpose of this video today is to say, don't worry if it appears that things in your reality crash and burn. It is okay. Think beauty for ashes. Think you are the phoenix rising out of the ashes. And whatever is happening, like the butterfly in the cocoon going through a metamorphosis, it might be painful. You might turn into mush a little, but if you continue to trust and have faith, you will evolve. And if you can stop worrying about the 3D as much as possible and absolutely stop worrying about time, distance, circumstances completely. Wipe all of that stuff off the table. You need to drop all of your worries, concerns. You need to drop all of your memories completely. Every morning when you wake up, you wipe the slate clean. You drop the circumstances consciously and you go deep. You immerse yourself deep into your end of who you truly are. And only focus dominantly on who you know deep down they truly are, and stay in your end. And I swear to you, if you actually do this and you surrender to it and you trust in the process and you stop asking how, you stop constantly questioning why things are happening, and you just trust in it and go to your end as much as possible, circumstances will shift and change. So you can look at my circumstance and know that your circumstances will shift and change too. Okay. Doesn't matter what happens in your 3D. You will become the strongest and best version of you, and you will be living out your life purpose when you trust and surrender to God, universe, source, and you just continue to live and persist from your end, not from the middle. You can affirm for things in the middle along the way, but you want to dominantly just focus in on your end. Okay. I hope that this video helps. I love you guys so much. Comment down below that you know it's done, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Nothing can come, nothing can come, nothing can come between us.